everyone! Sorry, that was my hand. Today we're going to be doing tips on taking your reborns out in public. I do not want to brag, but I have become an expert in this and through trial and error found things that work best and such. So I have a list, and if I think of anything else while I'm making the video, I will add it on. So here's my car seat, and my Leah, my reborn Leah, you can see her. She is going to be our little model today because she is usually the one that I take out because she is the most realistic. I know that a lot of people do these kinds of videos, but I think everyone does it a little bit different, and there's a few things that I haven't seen done, so I just thought I'd add it. So, when you put your reborn in, number one is that you want to have natural posing. So, what I mean by that is maybe to add a little more realism. For one, I've seen people take their reborns out and not buckle them in. You would buckle in a real baby, so if you are trying to make them look as realistic as possible, you will want to buckle them in because you would not leave a real baby unbuckled. So hold on, we'll get to the natural posing after I buckle her in. Sorry if my hands are in the way. I'm just buckling her up. Alright, so here she is in the car seat. Now what I mean by natural posing is sometimes I turn her head a little to the side and a little down like she's leaning into the car seat head support. I don't know if you can see that, but you should be able to see that. And I tilted her head a little bit. Sorry, it's a little bit dark in here, I think. But I tilted her head a little bit so it looks like she's sleeping and snuggled into the head support. Okay, so natural posing. That's number one. And number two is weather appropriate clothing. So right now, Leah is in a sleeper and a hat, and that would be appropriate for the weather right now if I were to take her out, because it's a little bit chilly for a baby, and yeah, so it would be appropriate. But you don't want to take them out in like all bundled up when it's summer, or you just want them to be wearing weather appropriate clothing. Let's see. The next thing is, number 3 is props. I am big on props. I think props really help to sell it. So I have a head support in here, and that helps her look a lot more realistic. And like I said, like making her look like she's leaning into the head support makes her look a lot more realistic. Another thing that I have for my older and a little bit bigger babies are these. They are little straps, so instead of the head support, I put these in. And sometimes I have a bottle, so I have like a bottle here. And I usually take this one with me and put it right there. And I also have, sometimes I'll put a little toy in there, like this. This I hook onto the car seat sometimes, onto the side. And yeah. And, let's see. Sometimes I'll put a lovey in there. And this lovey also has a passy clip right here that velcros. And I love that about this lovey. And it can tie onto the car seat, so, let's see. Also, if you're taking a reborn out, their lips do not move, and even if it's a sleeping reborn, sometimes, since their lips are not moving and there's no sign that they're breathing, I usually take a passy because it makes them look a lot more realistic. And another thing is that you see her hands are not in a natural pose. Maybe this one is, but this one is not in a natural pose. A baby wouldn't keep their hand like that. So So I also like taking scratch mittens along because then they can't really see their hands, the position of their hands. So I'll show you guys what that looks like. Like that. Let's see, is there any more props? Another thing is, if it's a little bit chilly out, I almost always take a blanket with me. And I lay it over like this. Hold on, let me see if I can find one to show you guys. Here's one. So usually I just fold a blanket in half. This one's a little bit thick for this, but I usually fold a blanket in half and put it up like that. Also, what a blanket does when you put it up this high is that it helps to add to the realism in, hold on. So what I mean by that is, if a real baby was here, you may or may not be able to see them breathing under a blanket. So since they don't breathe, sometimes people notice that they're not breathing, and they're like, is that a doll, or like, is your child okay? So I like putting a blanket there because then nobody knows that it's a doll. And let's see, for the next thing, oh yes, number 4 was mittens and passies. For number 5, be prepared for questions, because if you take your Reborn out, you are going to get questions, and I know that a lot of people are afraid of being questioned about their Reborn, and yeah, but really, you guys, there's nothing to really worry about. I've taken my Reborn everywhere. I've taken her to high school. I've taken her to the ER. I've taken her everywhere with me. And part of the reason I do that is because I like to spread like awareness about it. Like, what I mean by that is, if more people knew about it, I think people would be more accepting of it. And for the most part, I get a lot of positive reactions. Most people are really positive about them and think they're cool. There's a few people that are just like, oh, that's weird. But I've only had like a handful of people who are a little bit rude about it. But really, it doesn't bother me. I mean, if that bothers you, then, I mean, you don't have to take them out. But I'm just giving you some helpful tips just in case you do want to take your Reborn out. Also, when they think that she's real, you need to be prepared for questions, because the first thing they're going to ask you is, they're going to say, oh, she's so cute, or he's so cute, and how old are they? So sometimes I'll play along a little bit. I'll be like, oh, she's 3 months old, and they'll be like, oh, really? And they'll be like, you know, admiring her and everything, and then I'll go, hey, you want to know something? She's a doll. And then they go, oh, really? Wow. And like, they're amazed because they thought it was a real baby. Sometimes when people ask, I just say she's a doll, and you know, and then the next question they're gonna ask you is, why are you carrying around a doll? Do you have her for school? Sometimes I just say I have her for school because it's just easier that way. But most of the time I'm completely honest, and I tell them that it's a hobby, and I tell them a little bit about Reborns and things like that. But yeah, so just be prepared for questions. Let's see if there's anything else that I can think of. No, I think that's pretty much it for tips. And thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.